This is the Just Because Buzz Special Edition Blackbird Design Fall FFO Parade. I'm Merritt Crawford. Thank you for joining me. As promised in my previous video, I had said that I would try to do a Blackbird Design Parade from the book Winds of Autumn and from the new book When Leaves Fall. And so today I have several finishes for you to look at in those books. So the first book we're going to start with is Winds of Autumn. This book came out in 2020, and many of you have this book, and it's a beautiful book. And I knew as soon as I saw it, I wanted to start with this project, which is in the very back of the book, and it's called Mighty Acorn. And many of you are stitching it or have already stitched it. And so this is the one I'm going to show you finished. And I made one change, and that was the house color. I did not want to do the Schneckly. I decided to do Old Money by Classic Colorworks. And the reason for that is because we live in an area that's called, with lots of oak trees, it's called Oak Openings in Northwest Ohio. And the house that I live in is kind of a bluish tone, bluish gray. And so that's why I chose that color. And here's my finish. So it is stitched on 36 count, picture this plus. It's stitched one thread over two with the call for threads, with the exception of the house. I'm going to get you a little closer view of the house. And I really have enjoyed having this hang in my home. So that was the first finish. This was framed by Miss Paula at Craft Gallery, and I just love the frame. I thought it was just perfect for it. And the Craft Gallery is my LNS in Findlay, Ohio. Okay, so the next piece that I did in this book is actually three pieces. So I was kind of joking about going from the back to the front. And the next three pieces are called Sewing Companions. So it's a scissor fob, a little pin pillow, and the top of a little storage box, maybe for buttons. But I decided to stitch mine at this time anyway. Who knows, I might stitch them again. And I decided to stitch mine on one piece and made a little pin pillow. And that is this piece. So there's the little scissor fob. This was the little pin pillow. And then this was the top of the little box. And these are vintage, or I shouldn't say vintage. Anyway, these are Blackbird Design fabrics that I had in my stash. They're older fabrics. There's the back of it. And this has a little pocket right here. And just some pretty lace. So those are the Sewing Companions. All right, so the next one is a fun one because in the, I would say the summer, late summer, I made a connection with Terry Milinovich. She is Chocolates for Breakfast on Instagram. And we decided to meet in Tecumseh, Michigan. And there's a cross-stitch store there and some antique shops and some fun places to visit, including a quilt shop, and the British Tea Room is a fun place to visit. And so we met there one day, and we went to the cross-stitch shop, and we said, hey, let's do something together to remember our time together. So we both had the Winds of Autumn book, and we decided to stitch Waiting for the Harvest. And so here's that one. And this one is stitched in Dark Chocolate by Gentle Arts. But we chose Cinnamon, and I believe that is also a Gentle Arts, but don't hold me to it. I think it is. And so this is my finish of that. And we went upstairs to the quilt shop and we chose a backing and got a fat quarter and split it. And so we both used this fabric for our finish. And I stuffed it with walnut shells. And this is a scrap piece of linen, so I'm not sure what it is. But anyway, so waiting for the harvest. All right. So the next one that I did was Autumn Sound. And so that's this one, a little drum. And here's my drum. So it's finished on the piece that, or sits in the piece that was recommended. And then it's finished as a little drum with some rickrack that's kind of older, just some different pins. This was, I think, maybe my mother-in-law's little bracelet, some old buttons hanging there. So Autumn Sound. And my friend Celeste with Celeste Creates, we were working on this about the same time, so that was fun. The next piece that I worked on in this book was also a result of Terry. We decided to continue our little, it wasn't a tradition then, but it's becoming a tradition. So the second thing we stitched out of this book, we chose, let's see, let me go back. It is Blooming Sunflowers. So this one is the one we chose for last year. And I would encourage you to go to Terry's Instagram feed and scroll back to last year and see her wonderful finish of this, because she didn't do the little pocket or the little bag. She did a different finish. So I'd encourage you to go look at that. But I did do the bag. So here's mine. And I finished it just as the instructions said in the book. This is the back of it, and this is the lining. And then I used, the ribbon that I used is a seam binding tape. So very pleased with how that turned out. And this will just pull up. Okay. And then the last thing that I have stitched out of this book for this year is the piece that Terry and I chose, and it is called Nebraska Playy, and it is another drum. And let's see if there's another picture of, this is the picture of the full piece. So this is my little drum, and I struggled with finishing this little one. I had grandiose ideas. I was able to get everything lined up. That was not an issue. I got the bottom in, again, another piece of that Blackbird fabric that I've had my stash for a while and getting really low on. But then the top, I decided to use Lady Dot Creates Velvet Potato, I think is the name of it. I could not get the ruching around the top to come out, and I thought, you know, I'm just gonna do something wonky. So I was kind of thinking of a little girl, kind of back in the Victorian days, I think it was, where you'd see those pictures and they had these huge bows on their head. And I thought, why don't I just put an oversized bow and a little vintage button on top, and we'll just see if I like that. And I do like it. The more I've looked at it, I kind of it's growing on me. It's not that I could take it off if I decide, well, I want to try something else. But right now, I think it's kind of fun. Big oversized bow. There's the house. It was a fun one to stitch. It really was. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure where Terry is on hers, so we'll have to keep see how she does, see if she posts anything with hers. So, all right. And then last, I thought that was my last one, but that's not. My last one is actually, I almost forgot, and I saw it sitting up there, is Spell of the Moon. So Spell of the Moon is stitched on a piece of Endora from Needle and Flax. I didn't have any of the fabric that was called for. And I think I stitched, I know the gold is the called for. I'm not sure about the black. And I'm pretty sure the gray is the called for. So I used some Lady Dot Creates seam binding tape, and I put a little key there. Maybe it's the key to that house. And then the back is black velvet. I recently, down the road from me is Solder Village, and every August they have a rug hooking event, and they have vendors there, of course. And there was a lady there last year that had some really pretty velvet, and she was there again this year, but I went on the last day, almost like the last few hours of the show, really. And she had one piece of velvet left, and it was this black velvet, and I knew immediately I was going to use it for this piece. So there's Spell of the Moon. I thought it was fun. The book has a little bit different finish. They have like a beading finish, and so this time I just decided to do something a little more simple, especially since I had done the black velvet. Okay, so I'm going to change the angle of my camera a little bit so that we can see the next book, which is When Leaves Fall. So there'll be a little break in the video, but we'll get it together when we post it. All right, so I'm back now, and I have the next book, which is When Leaves Fall. So this book came out in 2022, and it has some beautiful, beautiful designs. And even though I had stitched 3 of the designs already, because I had been to a retreat in the fall of 2021 with Miss Alma at Findlay, Ohio, with the Craft Gallery, I still knew I wanted this book because there were several other projects that I wanted to stitch in the book. So the first 3 projects that I'm going to show you are the retreat projects that we received. And I'll share those with you, and then I'll talk about the last piece that I've completed out of this book so far. And then I'll tell you what I'd like to stitch. All right, so the big piece was Token of Love. And so I stitched this for our 30th wedding anniversary, which is actually coming up. It's November 6th. And with the sentiment of Token of Love, and we were married in the fall. It also had the blue house already, so I didn't have to change any of that. I added our initials, the S and the M, and I just love this piece. I just think it's beautiful. It was framed by Miss Paula at the Craft Gallery, and I'm just thrilled with it. I actually got it done really earlier in the year. I was going to another cross-stitch retreat at Craft Gallery, and I kind of set a rule for myself that I had to finish the retreat pieces that I've attended before I could attend another retreat. And I met my goal this time, so we'll see if I can meet my goal for the next time, because I'm already signed up for another retreat. So okay, so this was, let's see if I put the information on here. Let me get the book out to tell you what the fabric is. So Token of Love is stitched on Wren by Picture This Plus. It's a combination of Week Style Works, and there's one Classic Color Works, which is Stormy Nights. And this was actually a little commemoration for her granddaughter Clara, because her name is actually on the one in the book. Okay, so the next retreat piece that I'm going to share with you is the little squirrel. And let's see what its name is. And we had the option at the retreat to finish it as the shown here in the picture. And this is called Fall Gatherings. And there's mine. And we had to paint the box at the retreat. So that was fun. Or we could finish this as a little drum if we wanted to. We had the option to do that. But I decided to go ahead and do it just like it was planned, which was to do the little squirrel on the box. And then the next piece that we did is called Bittersweet Acorn. And it's a drum. And I finished it just like that. I did tie a little bow in the front, and then on my rickrack in the back, instead of just trying to connect the ends, I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna leave them loose. I'm gonna connect them right here, but I just like that look. So here they are. And the pins are from Jersey Girl Stitch Co., Anna and Teresa. And it's got that little squirrel. And I just love them. And then finally, the last one that I've done out of this book so far is Tiny Pumpkin. So this little pinroll. And a friend of mine gifted me the toweling, and you do a coffee dye of the toweling, and I did okay with it. I'm not the best at that technique. I wound up using the back of mine because I felt like the front of mine turned out too dark. So, but I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy putting it together. The toweling is a little different to stitch on if you haven't stitched on toweling before. But there's mine. And I just stuffed it with walnut shells. And I chose to back it with just a piece of quilting cotton. So Tiny Pumpkin. So there are several others in this book that I'm really wanting to stitch as well. And one of them, Carol Saltbox Stitcher, showed the other day in one of her videos. And I thought, oh, that's in the new book. So Moonlight Garden is one. And it calls for Patriots Blue R&R fabric. And then the other one that I'm really excited about, that I think I really want to try, is this pumpkin one day. I'd like to do that. And this one is called Autumn Abundance. And let's see. Here's another picture of it. this is the neat layout of several of the projects if you don't have this book yet. So just a beautiful book. In Winds of Autumn, one of the ones that I really want to do is the one with the big crow on it. But I decided I'm kind of not going to start anything else new out of the fall Blackbirds right now. I'll wait and do some kitting up for next year and maybe get the pumpkin out of this one and the crow out of that one. I just love their patterns and love their designs. I think they're so beautiful and timeless, and just get so much joy out of stitching their things. And I appreciate that Miss Alma is continuing to share her charts with us and her gifts. Thank you so much for joining me for this FlossTube Extra. I hope to film a new one in probably a couple of weeks. I'll get to film a new one and give you an update of what I've been stitching on. I do have some fun finishes. I have some FFOs that I can share with you. But since I had promised this and I had it all ready to go, I thought I'll go ahead and share this one, and then I'll get you primed and ready to watch the next one. So I hope you have a great day. Have a great weekend. Enjoy this fall weather and all the falling leaves. We have tons of leaves right now. We actually blew leaves Monday and Tuesday and burned them, and it doesn't look like we've done a thing. So anyway, we have lots of work to do ahead of us, but that's okay. And I will look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and happy stitching.